Another very common problem with lower body mechanics at both the youth and college level is something called flying or crow hopping. Flying is when a pitcher's drive foot leaves the ground for a brief amount of time and then resumes its normal drag. Crow hopping is when a pitcher has an initial push off the mound, her drive foot stops completely in the middle of the pitch, and then pushes a second time on the second part of her pitch. If you take a look at the video, the model is the pitcher in the upper left-hand corner. Notice how she pushes directly over that toe, and that toe stays in contact with the mat the entire time through the drive. The pitcher in the upper right-hand corner, as well as the pitcher in the lower left-hand corner, are flying, so you can see that their foot comes off the ground briefly, lands, and then resumes a normal drive. The pitcher in the lower right-hand corner is crow hopping. So you can see she makes an initial push off the mound, her foot stops completely in the middle of the pitch, and then she's going to push a second time on that second part of the pitch. Both flying and crow hopping are illegal and should be addressed prior to the time pitchers start their seasons.
The next drill that we're going to look at here to work on flying or crow hopping off the mound is what I've found to be the best fix for most pitchers. Okay, it's going to be using a simple rag. These rags are cut about the size of a postcard. We don't want them a whole lot bigger than that because we can get away with some sloppy mechanics if it's too big of coming up and coming back down on it. Okay, we want to place the rag directly in front of the pitcher's drive foot. We want there to be a little bit of space between her drive toe and the top of the rag. So if you look at Emma's rag there, she's got at least about an inch or two that she's going to have to pull forward in order to pull that rag. If they do what they're supposed to and they stay on the ground, they're going to catch that rag under their toe and they're going to pull it all the way into their heel. So they're also working on closing the gap up between their knees here. Okay, we're going to have them try it without their circles first, so they're just focusing on their feet. Let's go ahead. Okay, Tara came up just a little bit. She's going to fix it on the next one. Perfect, good job. Good, so if they're doing what they're supposed to, that rag should be tucked in basically at their front heel. It might go forward a little bit past their front heel. What we don't want to see, obviously, if they're coming off the ground, they're going to see that that rag doesn't move. If they fly, if they make the mistake that they've made on the video, you're going to see that rag stay in the same spot. Okay, let's put your circles on now, guys. This would be the next progression for them. If they can do it without their with their legs only, without their circle, add the circle and make sure they can still do it. Very good. And then we're going to have Emma go ahead and put some socks in. Tara's going to keep doing dry. Okay, on all of the drills that we're doing in this video, when we show them to you dry, that's the easiest way for pitchers to get the feeling of doing it correctly. As we continue to add motion and when we start putting balls in or socks, things become a little more difficult. And if they are going to make a mistake, we typically see it show up once that ball's back in their hand. Okay, if they were to make a mistake, so for example, if Emma's foot were coming up in the air right now and she was not pulling the sock every time she was throwing her socks, then what we'd have her do is go back to doing some without the socks again, get the feel of it, and then we'd add the socks back in. She's rocking it out right now. She's getting it every time. So her next step would be to go ahead and throw to a catcher with her rag and make sure she was able to do that with the ball to her catcher. Good job. One more, both of you. Good, Tara. Nice job. Good. That one you just dropped your heel a little bit at the end on. Really good, though. Good job, you guys.